More pressing news this morning, at least for half of the panel over here on Off the Bench, is that Anthony Davis makes it official. Rich Paul, his representative over at Clutch Sports, tells the New Orleans Pelicans, according to Woj and ESPN this morning, that they want out. They're not going to sign their max deal that could be offered this summer, 5 years, worth about $240 million total. Not going to sign it, and in fact, not going to sign and want out. They want to trade. Which that's not shocking news.
And this is where people are mischaracterizing my melt. Okay, I am not shocked. Oh, I told you last year when he bought the $8 million home in L.A. that he was gone if the Pelicans didn't win this year. Like nothing about this is shocking. It doesn't make it any less infuriating. Just because you know something terrible is going to happen doesn't mean it doesn't make you angry when that terrible thing then comes to pass.
Yeah, well, I mean, like all of the things that were making this now such a terrible and tragic piece of news for the Pelicans was happening right in front of your face. I mean, at no point did Dell Demps ever seemingly take his job really that serious. When you take a look at the type of player that Anthony Davis is, what you could build around him, and everything that he's given away in the meantime. If I'm Anthony Davis, if I'm Rich Paul, I don't argue, I don't debate them one bit on this. I mean, he's a top 3 player in the world. He needs to be playing for championships. At this point, the franchise that he's playing on is regressing. I mean, they're going backwards.
And let's be clear, my problems are not with Anthony Davis. My problems are with the Pelicans front office, and will be one of the biggest wasted opportunities in NBA history. I said it was probably the biggest last night. And people came back at me in my Twitter mentions, what about Vince Carter? Or what about Andrew Wiggins? Or Karl Anthony Towns? Or all these other number 1 picks? All right, you think they're good? You think they're on AD's level? No, I'm going to read you the company that AD keeps. Player efficiency rating. It's a stat that encompasses the entire game, right? Everything you are doing on a basketball court. Do you want me to read you the top 6 all-time PER leaders, all-time NBA history? It starts with the GOAT. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Who's right behind him? LeBron James. Guess who's next on the list? Anthony Davis. He's ahead of Shaq at number 4. David Robinson at 5. Wilt Chamberlain is number 6. That's the type of guy you lost. I mean, go down the list. Chris Paul, Bob Pettit, Kevin Durant, Barkley, Kareem, Duncan, Harden, Magic, Steph, Malone, Westbrook, D-Wade, Olajuwon. He's ahead of them all. That's the type of talent that you had for 6.5 years. And you produced 2 winning seasons. Twice you made the playoffs. After the first time you made the playoffs, you re-signed Omer Asik to a giant contract saying continuity and chemistry was key, and you fired the coach. After saying you needed continuity and chemistry, you fired the coach. You got worse, but we gave you more rope. We held out hope, said you got dealt a bad car hand injury-wise, and guess what you did? You blew it again, Dell Demps. 9 years. This is year 9 for Demps. He's almost 80 games under 500. He's 307 and 383, Jordy. In 8 years, he's had 3 winning seasons. One of them was year number 1. They got like 20 games worse from year 1 to year 2. It's terrible. It's time to end. Fire him yesterday. Freeze decision-making immediately. It's inexcusable.
Anonymous user, T-Bob melting worse than election night in 2016. Eric Hart. What a bad day not to have any more gummies. Anonymous user.
You're not wrong.
Well, do take solace that the gymnastics did win over the weekend.
Shut up, Nathan! Shut the hell up! I don't want to hear it. Not today.
And really, it's about time.
I've got a red AD jersey. I've got a Navy AD jersey. I've got an Anthony Davis stuffed doll on my wall. Like, I have so much crap. And now I'm just going to remember poorly because they did nothing. Like, when this is all said and done, Anthony Davis is going to be one of the greatest NBA players of all time.
Resale market's
and you're going
to
look at this and you're just going to scratch your head. Even look at that list. So, Jordan, you made an interesting point. So this is the PER list I named. The top 6. Jordan, James, Davis, Shaq, David Robinson, Chamberlain. A lot of those guys went to other teams, right? Like, a lot of them didn't stay with their original team. That's all well good. But they still won. Shaq still played in the finals with the Magic. Wilt Chamberlain, well, I guess Wilt won everywhere. But LeBron still actually won in Cleveland. The Pelicans not only had Anthony Davis and then he garnered any championships, they got 2 playoff appearances. Terrible. Terrible. Last night, I'm telling you, I was writing the end of the hour segment was going to be on Dell Demps and how they needed to freeze his decision-making power immediately. He's already done too much damage. You want to know what the legacy of the Demps era will be? Is trading long-term assets for short-term success that doesn't even translate to short-term success. He's traded 6 first-round picks in a row. You had this incredible cornerstone to build around, and you made your walls out of paper mache! You idiot! I'm so angry. I don't even like calling for people's jobs, but he's gotten a fair shake. Is a decade of bad basketball not enough? Out. And ownership, you are complicit. You allowed this to happen. I love Gail Benson.
It's on them, dude.
She needs to make a statement here. They need to separate the Saints and Pelicans franchises. They need to hire people to run the Pelicans franchise. They need to fire the current front office because you have utterly and completely blown it. You have. This is one of the, if not, this is the biggest wasted opportunity in NBA history.
It won't work until you hire an executive team solely with the responsibility to run the basketball team.
Why wouldn't you? It is unbelievable you don't have it at this point.
It's never going to work unless you bring in solely to run that part of the operation. I mean, the disrespect when you talk to people that are in an isolated franchise, right, that either work in the NFL or NBA, and you ask them that question, could you imagine if your office had dual responsibility to run another sports franchise and they laugh in your face? I mean, like, it's laughable. It's laughable to think that it could be accomplished, and now what you have sacrificed is potentially the best player in the world.
So there's a reason why nobody else does it, right? Like, the Pelicans aren't the organization isn't just so far ahead of the curve. They're like onto something that nobody else gets. No, there's a reason why nobody else does it, because it doesn't make any sense. It's just bad business. T-Font mentioning the salt in the wound right now is, you got Boogie Cousins out there playing for the Warriors. You got Buddy Hield. That's an all-star. It's an all-star. Okay, but the heel thing's interesting because the Kings, Jordy, the Kings are maybe my lone little speck of brightness in today's dark clouds because the Kings finally get rid of Cousins, and look, they're better than they've been in years. Like, maybe this is what the Pelicans needed. Maybe this is if I wanted to go optimistic, this is the kind of final straw where, like, okay, we have to hit the reset button. We got to fire everyone. I think you wait until July when the Celtics can enter the Anthony Davis bidding war. You drive up the price. You get a bevy of resources, and maybe you get good from here on out. But if you couldn't do it with AD, how can we have any faith that you can do it now?
Well, and it was new ownership in Sacramento that came in with a new vision that sought that, right? I mean, like, under this ownership right now, I've got full faith that they can manage the football team that the region cares about. But as far as the basketball team, it seems like the stepbrother, the little toy that you play with every now and again. It just doesn't have everybody's attention inside of the executive team, or at least that's what the product looks like on the floor. And I know that they're still playing without, like last night or last time out versus San Antonio. Not only were they without Davis, they were without Mirotic. They were without Julius Randle.
Here's the deal, though. What is a core job responsibility of a GM?
Yeah, man. Build a team.
Build depth to withstand injury. You think Boston liked losing Hayward and Kyrie last year? They still did pretty damn good, didn't they? Like, that's in the job description. I get that they had bad injury luck. The Pelicans always had bad injury luck. I get it. It doesn't excuse anything. If you are an Elfrid Payton broken pinky away from being bad, your roster sucks. Your roster's terrible. And the Pelicans front office has screwed this up at every turn, which is why Dell Demps cannot, all caps, underlined, bolded, cannot be allowed to entertain offers for Anthony Davis. Like, fire him, really. But if not, freeze his decision-making. You have to wait until July, I think, at least, to get the Celtics into this bidding war because of the weird Rose rule, and they have Kyrie. They can't actually trade for Davis until July 1st, post-July 1st. Wait until then. Play the Celtics and Lakers against each other. Try to get as many resources as you can, but Dell Demps cannot be allowed to be the one to initiate this rebuild. A new direction is needed.